Hello and welcome to,
Hey, we like your pod.
and we're here to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I'm joined as always by my trusted partner, Matt Pickett. Matt, I've missed you. It's been 2 whole weeks.
Yeah, this whole
What's
like every other week, off-season cadence we have going is it's good and bad, right? It's good and bad, Don, because the good thing is that if we were trying to like bring three superlatives every week during off-season like this, it'd be like, well, this week Andy Herman did another really great podcast. Like every week it'd be like the same small group of people. So we get more of a chance to kind of gather more diverse sources. But the bad side, Dawn, is then it's like I miss seeing you, on every Thursday. So just happy to be here with you. How you doing?
Same here. I'm doing okay. I've been watching some trials today. We got okay. So since the last show, sorry, I have all of a sudden I'm going to cough because,
Oh no,
of course, I haven't coughed all day, but today now I have to cough. Okay, so there was a trial that I was watching, and I don't think I mentioned it on our last show 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really wacky one. Well, they're all kind of wacky because usually they involve murder, and you've got to be pretty wacky to be doing that kind of stuff. But so that one finished up, and it was one of those. Usually, when I watch a trial, I watch the whole thing, but that one, it took, I want to say, 4 years to get to trial, which is not super uncommon when it's a complicated case.
Mm-hmm.
But that means I watched all of the hearings throughout the years, and so I saw all of the ups and downs and ins and outs, and and I like that because you understand why certain things didn't come in that other people are like, well, what about this and what about that? Well, you didn't watch the hearing. So I just feel like I can appreciate it more. But this trial was in Utah. It was Utah versus, excuse my tickle in my throat, Utah versus Corey Richins. And she was accused and found guilty of poisoning her husband with street drugs, basically, but they call it poisoning in this state. And not only that, but she had the audacity to, they had 3 little boys, and she had the audacity to write a children's book about grieving.
What? Oh no.
Yeah. And
No.
she did some other just really outrageous things. And so not only has she been found guilty, and it was like, I want to say 3.5 or 4 week trial. It was not quick. It was a good month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now she's facing 26 federal charges for financial crimes, fraud, and all kinds of other things. So she's just getting nailed. I mean, it's just, and she, you never know what a jury's going to do because they're not watching every single hearing. They're not watching. In fact, hopefully they're picking jurists who haven't seen all the pre-trial publicity.
Yeah. Ideally.
So you just never know what they're going to do. But it was a super long trial by average standards, for sure, longer than average. And they came back in 3 hours. They got the case at like 2:30 or 3:30 in the afternoon, and the judge was like, well, you will come back at 4:30 unless you want to stay whatever the judge's instructions were.
Mm-hmm.
And so 4:30 came around, and it's like, jury's still there. And I thought, oh my gosh, they're not going to just keep the case and decide tonight, are they? And they sure did. In 3 hours. And there were several charges, and so usually it takes that long just to get through the jury instructions and all the paperwork that juries have to do, check all the boxes and stuff. So it was just kind of crazy. And so So since then, I've been watching two other trials. One that came to trial within a year, and this is a weird one. This doctor in Hawaii and his wife, who's a nuclear like physicist, super brainiacs people. He is alleged to have tried to throw her off a cliff. He took her hiking.
What?
Yeah. And the allegations, she's like, he had syringes out, he was trying to jab me with drugs, and she survived. So that was thankfully, and that was one of the rare cases where the victim actually testifies. So that's been interesting. And it's just interesting because these people are so educated, and it's, like, how do they get into this situation? And then there's one more really quick trial that was an important one out of the Boston area again, which was where Karen Reed was. It was a different jurisdiction slightly down the road, but a very, very, very fishy circumstances where a police officer shot another police officer. But there were two totally different accounts of what happened. So both of them survived. And so both the police officer who got shot and the one who was accused of assault with a deadly weapon was her charge. It wasn't attempted murder. They tried to pin attempted murder on her, and not even the grand jury would go for that. They're like, no, she wasn't. Anyway, long story short, came back. It was a bench trial, meaning the judge decided it, and he gave her a not guilty today.
Really?
She got, yes, and it was right. If you saw the evidence and stuff. So he did the right thing. So it's nice to see when the right thing happens, and it usually does. The jury system is pretty good. Even bench trials are pretty good. So yeah, so that's that. Hi, Iowa Joe. Nice to see you. So that's been my time, my free time. I've been cleaning out my closets. My goal is to cut my wardrobe and shoes in half by the end.
With scissors or like
throw away. Yeah, I weigh too much, and so at least in half. And I'm excited about that. I'm ready to purge.
It'll feel very, I think, like freeing and like you're lighter. I mean, that's what we felt like every time before we moved to a new house and you have to get rid of stuff. As it's happening, you're like, oh, I can like breathe easier. This is great. Yeah. Crazy thing.
I am so jazzed. I'm just so ready to do it. So yeah, so that's my life. What's been going on in your life? How's work? How's the fam?
It's been sunshines and freaking rainbows lately, Dawn. It's been great because today was really nice out, and it's opening day for the Reds, for the Cincinnati Reds. And I know that it's not unique here that the city really gets excited about it, and there's a parade and it's all over the news and stuff. I know that happens a lot of baseball cities, but man, I tell you, Cincinnatians are serious about the Reds. Like they're about the Bengals, but they're serious about the Reds here. So
yeah,
it's like a holiday. If this weren't part of most of the school district's spring break week, because my kids are on spring break, for example, some districts would actually close today, so the kids could go down to like do the parade and maybe even go to the game and stuff like that. Wow. So I mean, it's a big deal, right? Yeah. And it was really nice today. It was like up in the 80s eventually, and the local whippy dip place opened up this week, so we went and had some soft serve after dinner. I had a brownie sundae. It was amazing. First time sitting outside eating some soft serves, of the season. So I just felt like very much spring, early summer vibes today, and it was awesome. Work's been great lately. I've built some amazing spreadsheets I'd love to talk about sometime, that I'm really, really proud of, and got to present some stuff to the provost of the university recently. I think that happened since our last thing. It
was like that day, I think, the week that we talked last.
Yeah. So that was really great, and there's been some like good kind of things have come from that since then. So yeah, things are good, Dawn. I'm real happy.
I love it. We had, in between our last episode and this episode, we had kind of a long heat wave. It was too hot for because it's only March, right? And it was like 75, 76, like 10 days in a row. So I was annoyed with that. It was just super hot.
Joe asks, wait, the local what? Yeah, I said whippy dip. Soft serve. You could call them a creamy whip, they're known as well. I don't like that phrase as much. I think for obvious reasons. It sounds horrible. Yeah, it's a soft serve place. There's like a ton of them around town, which I feel like a thing of the past. But if nothing else, Cincinnati is a place that is littered with things of the past. For I think for better and for worse,
Ah,
frankly. So it's like just like mom and pop places across the city that serve soft serve. It's a huge thing. So yeah,
and
whippy
it's
dip,
called Wimpy.
whippy dip. That's just like
Whippy.
there's a lot of like similar names like that for these kinds of places. But more generically, soft serve ice cream joints. Because they only open seasonally. That's the thing. They're open seasonally. They're not open during the winter because they don't have seating usually. It's like a stand. You walk up,
Oh,
you get your stuff. They might have picnic tables if you're lucky, that kind of thing.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, and
Seasonal soft serve.
also with that, hey Joe, it's nice to see you. So it's time for this week's superlatives.
I did
Maddie,
not know that was the end of your thought. I didn't know where you're going with that. Good to see you, Joe. So superlatives.
always try to surprise you.
Well
I
done.
so I disagree because I think the off season gives us a chance to look broadly at the NFL.
Sure.
And it doesn't have to be Packers related, but even today, speaking of baseball,
Mhm.
the Packers were out there supporting the Brewers on opening day. So there's
Love
just
that.
there's a lot of overlap, and there's also a lot of overlap with the National Football League Players Association Union as well as the
Mhm.
MLBPA. So that's I have a theme this week. It's going to be a little ranty, but I don't know if it's going to be ranty or not. But I have a theme, so I would love for you to get us started. Um, and I'm just warning you guys ahead of time. I have a theme.
Well, if you'd like me to get started, I shall. And I think probably as you need like breaks in your rant, that's where you need to have me come back
Yeah,
in
smart.
to
Yeah,
do another piece of positivity
that's
for
true.
for the listeners. So my first one is best new podcast. Oh, Dawn, have you heard this? This is so much fun. Um, it's called the Random Packers Podcast. It's a John Meerding side project. It's part of the powersweep.com, all that stuff. It's super
Okay.
fun because one thing about Blue 58, John Meerding's like, normal podcast is that he always tries to keep them as concise as possible. He wants things to be like, explained clearly, concisely, and convincingly to some degree as well. And this is like distilling that even more, that ethos. He's like, I'm gonna do like a couple times a week just like a 4 to 5 minute segment on a random Packer. And there have been thousands of people who've played for the Packers. So he I don't know how he selects them. I think he might have like a spreadsheet, just hits like a random button. I don't know what he does exactly.
Ah,
But the conceit on the show is like he spins the wheel of cheese, and what's the random Packer for this time? But it gives you this really interesting like the story of this person and their life with the Packers and kind of the role they played. And it's every single time. I mean, John's a good writer and researcher and thinker, and has a great voice too, for that matter. And they're just so fascinating. Like he can spin like this interesting 4 minute segment on like the most peripheral Packers player. He'll find a way to like make it interesting, and they've been really cool. So
oh,
you can take down a half dozen of them while you're making dinner because they're so short and they're so
wow.
fascinating. It's like you learn about all these little like little pieces of the Packers history, because they'll be going through a long enough timeline. He'd do every single person who played for the Packers. I don't think
Right.
he'll get through all of them. It's a
Right.
long time to get to all those, but they are really a lot of fun. Joe's asking, did he start with Randall Woodfield? I don't remember who he started with actually at this point. I could go back and check it out. But yeah, it was really fun to listen to, and a really cool side project.
That sounds really cool. Like little sprinkles, like a
Yeah,
sprinkly. Yeah.
sprinkles of Packers
I
history.
I found a podcast this week that was called, what was it called? I think it was called In the Comments.
Okay.
And they pull out comments around whatever topic.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to tell you something that's just genius. And they just talk about, oh, this
Uh-huh.
person said this and this, because don't you just like love once in a while getting lost in the comments of,
In fact, yes.
oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes I'm just like, oh, I need to live here. This is amazing. And these people are all saying the things that I didn't have the guts to say or the brains to say or whatever. But it's a really good podcast and totally wasn't on my. I'm always taking in a lot of content, but not all of it is true crime or football. It's
Hmm.
I have a lot of things that I follow, so and I go through, and it's not always animal attacks, but those are fun too. So this week, I my theme is Shakespeare is alive and well in the NFL.
Okay. Interesting
Okay.
theme.
Hmm. Well, so it's kind of like a sub. So superlative wise, it's most dramatic, and this is in midst of a big, hot NFLPA mess.
Ooh.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago, I think we talked about the vote that was going to happen in San Diego
Hmm.
for the next executive director and other positions, but the executive director was the most uh, one that I was the most curious about. I think most people were because somehow or another, J.C. Tretter ended up in the under the list of considerations. It's supposedly 300 candidates down to 32 and then down to, oh, JC Tretter was in the top three. Oh,
That's what I
okay.
said.
Oh,
That's the
sure.
word.
But it was all secretive because we don't want anyone to, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, just like the Lloyd election was secretive. Anywho, so I'm going to say that I'm just going to generally give Pablo Torres and Florio to a little bit of credit for all of what I'm going to say tonight.
Mhm.
So, so the first quote is, and it is very Shakespearean in my opinion, spend your 30 pieces of silver wisely. Do you know who said that?
I don't.
Okay. Well, you
Is it
know
a
the
reference to
30
like to Judas
to
selling
Judas,
Jesus down?
the traitor. Yeah.
Yeah.
The betrayer for money, who ended up taking his own life after that, by the way. It was said by Craig Jones. Do you know who Craig Jones is?
I do not.
Okay. Well, this is so interesting because Craig Jones was the head of security for the NFL offices in Washington, D.C. for many years. And he
Hmm.
was really good at his job and evidently highly respected. But he was also somebody who wasn't afraid to, as they say, speak truth to power.
Mm.
And he had a little bird's eye view of what was going on and weird body languages and weird habits that were developed, especially after Lloyd came on board a couple years ago. So he ultimately was told to stand down a couple of times and stop bothering people.
Oh goodness.
And then he ultimately was shown to the door. He's 71 years old now. I don't know if you know this or not, but after the Lloyd stepping down. It should have been a firing, and then Tretter stepped down a little bit later, a couple days later. Um, the NFL started offering anyone with more than 7 years on the job severance packages.
Really?
So they cleaned house.
Yeah, that's what that is. Exactly.
Yes, anyone over 7 years, and the they said they were doing it because of some remarks that Lloyd made at the Super Bowl, after the Super Bowl, about, leaning into technology and needing more people on board that had more skills that were like people couldn't learn those. I don't know. Anyway, they had an excuse for it. But so I have two more. I just think the quotes and the conversation was just overwhelmingly interesting. If you haven't heard any of it, look it up. Just go to Pablo Torres's YouTube channel or his
Hmm.
Twitter, whatever you do. But so you might know, so Tretter was elected to be the executive director for the NFLPA, which is what he wanted all
Hmm.
along.
Hmm.
And that's why he put Lloyd in place, and they made a position for Tretter to hold until he got elected. But then he stepped down with the whole debacle. And he said he didn't have anything left to give to the union. But there he is, back exactly where he wanted to be. And so my questions are, did Tretter charge right back in the middle of the NFL Players Union firestorm because he wants to be a hero and clean things up? Or to become the monster that a lot of people think he is? So does he have inside knowledge that clears all of them from the FBI probe? So, okay, it's safe. I can go back now. Or is he in there making a last-ditch effort to bury the rest of the evidence that could ruin him and all of his friends? Those are my thoughts. So just remember, he ushered Lloyd in. He ushered in Jalen Reeves-Maybin. I don't know if you know about that.
I kind of remember that.
He wrote, he's now the president. He wrote that statement. Yep. And
the statement that made them look like everything's cool, guys. Look at it. It's all above board.
He didn't write that. He's not capable of writing that. I mean, I was like, oh gosh. Okay. So, and then the top cop, who I just quoted, Craig Jones, head of security, said that everyone with more than 7 years, like I said, was offered a package to leave, but he didn't take it until he was made an offer he couldn't refuse. So there's just so much intrigue going on here. But that's those are the questions I have when I do my next superlatives. So I'm just kind of laying the groundwork.
All right. Laying the groundwork. I love that. Establishing the narrative. Yeah, it's so fascinating. I think Shakespearean is a good word for it, Don, because all the intrigue and the power, people trying to grab the power and take over, and the plots, the drama.
There is so much, and then you have to ask yourself. By the way, my first question was, who wrote that article for Jalen, right? And I remembered, I had totally forgot about something as I rewatched and looked at some of because there's so much information out there. But Jalen Reeves-Maybin, a long name there, is basically, in my opinion, these are all my opinions, everyone, he's basically Tretter's puppy dog. There was another gentleman, what was his name? What was his name? I forgot his name. I don't think I wrote down. There was another gentleman who was vying for that position. And vastly qualified. And he was vastly qualified, especially in light of what Tretter and Lloyd and everybody are selling here, that the union needs to be more business oriented, right? And this, I forgot the guy's name. It'll come to me, but it's got a weird spelling. But he was so much more vastly qualified for that exact thing. So the fact, and I mean, there's reports of Tretter, like they give their presentation to the executive committee, right? And it was the executive committee who put those guys in place, not the players group of 32 who put Tretter, the executive director, in place. So it's all very complicated. But Tretter came out and he would just like backstab this guy. He gave his presentation and he's like, no, you don't want him. I mean, he definitely did not want this guy. And there's accounts of it. So there's people on the record saying these things. I can't say that I heard him say that, but I'm saying that there are people that have said that. So there's just a whole lot of stuff going on. And so it makes me wonder, okay, so are the players who probably have more money than the average person, to invest and, want to do things with their money and their wealth. They actually have wealth to think about, like a lot of people don't. Are they into all of this? Are they buying it? Are they buying this? Are they in on this? Or are they being duped? Right. That's my question. Because at this point, when Tretter got elected, I'm like, okay, well, this is on the players. And it's sad because they might be in on it, but they might not realize that they could very well be selling out future athletes, their children, if they, it's not going to
Yeah.
be the same for them. Yeah. So those are the questions I have. So many questions. Do you have questions, Matt?
Ooh, I mean, where to start is the thing. Off the top of my head, Don, I don't know. I really don't know where to start. But it's also people who want to stay in power will do anything they can to stay in power. They'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll do whatever. If they don't take it as being a stewardship of a thing, but rather as being about them and them having power. I mean, you see that anywhere and everywhere. So how much of what they're trying to like sell to us is real? The article about like, oh, this is the process. Let's just put all the conspiracy theories to the side. Here's what's actually going on. How much of that is true? How much of it is colored? How much of it is given to us like through a certain lens? I would love to know what the actual truth of the whole situation is, because it doesn't look good for them. That's for sure.
No, and that statement was so polished and so thorough. It was like this was written by a team of lawyers, and they did when this happened with Lloyd and Tretter, the NFLPA hired a crisis management team, a team of legal fixers and PR people.
Exactly.
And they're still there managing this whole thing. So no doubt that statement came through them and probably went through at least 10 different, drafts. Because it was, I looked at that statement a few times. I was like, geez, no offense, Jalen, but he's not that talented. Now the other guy might have, he was very polished, and he had a background in business and investments. I forgot I'll think of his name while you're doing your superlatives, but no offense, but I knew that wasn't written by any football player. No offense, but that had to be written by a team of lawyers and PR people. Yeah. So it makes it so suspicious. And True North, hello, says everyone goes on to stardom when they leave the Packers. Are we talking about stardom, or are these people going to be in prison? Because the FBI probe has not been, as far as we know, it's still ongoing. And of course, the lawsuit, the general counsel for the Players Association Union, Heather McPhee, that $10 million lawsuit is still going forward. So, yeah.
All right. So, should I throw in a superlative then, Dawn?
Yeah, I was just trying to keep up with the comments, but I'm a little bit lost, but that's fine. Yes.
All right. Yes. So my next superlative is most helpful. So this is that time of year where if you want to really engage with the content that's out there, it's going to be draft. Yes. And I'm starting to get into it. We, some of our friends like Joe, of course, are way on top of it. But one of the really helpful podcasts I listened to recently was our friends Andrew Mertig and Kyle Fellows talking about what are the 10 most likely selections at pick 52 for the Packers. And part of how I've been having a hard time getting into the draft this year is because we don't have a first round pick. So it's like all of the like really flashy, players that people are excited about, your top 50, we're just outside of the top 50. Like, it's just like, well, I guess I can learn about all the people who are in that, like, next tier or even third or fourth tier at that point. It's just not as exciting, so I've been like less motivated. So to have just an episode of a podcast where they say, here's where we think the board's going to be at. And it's impossible for sure. So here are 10 potential players that the Packers might be interested in based on need, based on, the players fit with the team and stuff like that. And of course, Kyle and Andrew, they're some of the best out there for talking about Packers draft stuff. I mean, draft stuff in general, but like especially focused with the Packers lens. So it was a really handy episode. I really enjoyed it. Give me some names to actually like hold on to, think about, and start to get into it through that door.
Yeah, it makes it more tangible.
Yeah.
And you always have to remember that's top 10 players, top 20, top 50 for sure. There are players that are expected to go higher that will slip down.
Yeah.
And so it can be I think it's still going to be exciting.
It'll also be a lot of fun, definitely. And
yeah.
I mean, the excitement of the draft is its own thing unto itself, and I just get so excited about just after it when we get to unwrap the packages on Christmas morning, and kind of learn about these players, what they're going to be.
Yes.
Joe says, I gotta throw this on the screen here. Joe says, just wait until it comes to day 2 and the Packers trade out of the second round. Yeah, that would be torches and pitchforks all over, Packers nation. It would be, it'd be rough. Packers Twitter would self-explode. It'd be amazing.
Oh, I'm so glad I don't look at that anymore, because that's just, I remember when Love was drafted, and I was just like, am I the only person who's kind of excited about this too?
I was just confused when that happened. I didn't know what to make of it, but yeah,
I was happy. Well, okay, so along this same, the reason I called it Shakespearean is because there were so many people dropping super great quotes, like the one from Craig Jones. And by the way, spend your 30 pieces of silver wisely. He actually wrote that in an email.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, to like everybody in the whole organization before he left. So to Tretter. I mean, Tretter, meaning to Tretter. So
yeah.
Here's another one. Guess who said this one? And maybe you know where this is from too. So two guesses on this. I wish I was the monster you think I am.
Did Tretter say that?
He did.
I don't know what the reference is though.
Okay, so, and I'm not familiar with Game of Thrones, but I am now. Okay, so Tyrion, no, of that I am innocent. I am guilty of far more monstrous crime. I am guilty of being a dwarf. Tywin, you are not on trial for being a dwarf. Tyrion, I hope I'm saying that right. Oh, yes, I am. I've been on that trial for my whole entire life. Tyrion, nothing but this. I did not do it. Tyrion, I did not kill Joffrey, but I wish that I had. And that's when he said, I'm not the monster you think I am. But the thing is about that quote, because I had to do some research, he didn't just say that, but then if you follow it through the dialogue, he was saying that he would come back as that monster. And Tretter came back. So did he come back as a monster?
Oh, maybe.
That we thought he was? Or not? So I just was like, this is wild that he made that quote and then came back.
Yeah.
Like, probably that one wasn't passed through the crisis management team.
Yeah. They probably said, do you understand the subtext of what you're saying there, man?
You did not just say that. Oh my God. Yeah, so that was kind of wild. I don't know if you remember that episode. I did not watch Game of Thrones.
I didn't watch Game of Thrones either, no.
Oh, I feel so better.
No, we're the only two people in America who didn't.
I know. One of my best friends is like, oh, you gotta watch Game of Thrones. And I was like, oh God. She did talk me into watching something else that I watched later, and I was very grateful for. It was the one about the math teacher that became a meth.
Oh, Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Breaking Bad.
Chemistry teacher, but yes, that show's excellent.
Yes. So I was like, this is great. But I don't think I can handle Game of Thrones, but it is kind of Shakespearean, so maybe I could.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Maddie. So that was kind of interesting. Did he come back as the monster? Because that was, he did one interview. I think it was with, I think he did a written interview with CBS Sports. I think he went on with, what's his name? Aaron Rodgers' girlfriend's dad. Ex-girlfriend.
I say Aaron Rodgers has a girlfriend? Doesn't he have an imaginary wife? I thought that was the situation.
What was her name? Danielle. She drove the cars.
Oh, you're talking about Joe will have in the chat, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry.
I do not know my racing people.
I don't know this guy at all, but it's her dad. He did an interview with him, and I think he either said it there or with another guy that I don't watch, the guy with the tank tops.
Pat McAfee.
McAfee. Yes.
Danica Patrick thanks a new job. That was the ex-girlfriend's name.
Dan Patrick. He did an interview with Dan Patrick.
There you go.
And with Pat McAfee and CBS Sports in writing. So yes. Anywho, that's where he said it. I'm not sure which one of those. He didn't do many interviews, and he's not done any interviews, by the way, since getting elected. Have you noticed? Not one, not even a statement. He had his little friend there, Jalen, who didn't write the statement, issue a statement. That's not courage. Okay. What do you have next?
Yeah. So my third superlative, and I do also have some side notes for after you're all done. Okay. So like kind of not superlatives light, let's say. But anyhow, my third actual superlative, best new series. So not new podcast, because it's written stuff. Best new series is, you know how there are certain people in this world who are so good at like teaching us, right? And we are blessed, if you will, that these people are out there and that they put the time and have the joy to continue to try to make us all smarter just by sharing the thing they're enthusiastic about. Of course, I'm talking about Dusty Evely. Here's what I'm talking about, because he has his Substack, Red Right Clamp, right? And he just recently started a new series called Football Primer. The first installment is out there. He's working on the second one. I actually was texting with him about it earlier today. So the first one was about personnel and formations. And it's like, you know, I've tried to learn a lot about football over the years. And so a lot of the stuff I knew, but even then there's things like little nuanced things. I was like, oh, I didn't really quite grasp that before. I don't understand why that was that thing or why it's called that or how this works exactly. No matter how much you know, you can still pick up stuff. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that first one, Dusty was trying to kind of lay the groundwork of a lot of things before he gets into more like advanced passing concepts kind of stuff, which of course is his jam, you know? Right. So really good start to that series. I can't wait to see where he goes with it. And, you know, it's really cool that there are so many people who do so many different like media, you know, like Dusty does, you know, podcasts and he writes and he does videos sometimes, you know, and like when you have somebody out there who finds like, this is something I want to convey, what's the right medium for it? I think it's cool when people can like figure that out and kind of find that best way to convey something. So this, you know, stuff is really, I think, good in a written format because you can kind of refer back and kind of read over it again and stuff like that. And it's good stuff. Highly recommend. Check out Dusty's Substack. It's great.
I saw the email notification come through, but I didn't have a chance to click on it. So now I'm really interested because I need a primer because I don't know anything about football.
You know so much more than you think you do, Dawn. I know that you do.
I love to say that. I just love saying it. I really don't, though. I mean, I miss so much, I think.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to get, and we're all always learning, but you know more than you think you do, I'm sure. Do you have more trial stuff than to talk about?
I have more Shakespeare.
Go for it. let her rip, Dawn.
Okay, here's another quote. Oh, and here's the gentleman that Jaden, the guy who can't write. Sorry, Jaden. I'm sure he can't write that well. Nobody can. I can't write that well. It's not an insult.
I love you're apologizing to him on this podcast.
Well,
but
it's like the I'm most telling people he can't write, but I'm not saying he can't write. I'm saying it's too
sure. I got you.
Anyway, okay. It was Kelvin Beacham.
Okay.
Who was the dude who seemed more qualified. That JC Tretter was like, nah, look away. You want my guy Jaden, my puppy dog. So, okay. So per Pablo Torres, he quoted a player, but he didn't say who it is. I'm guessing it was Kelvin Beacham.
Okay.
But that's just a guess. It's just a guess. And this player said JC Tretter is more like Littlefinger. Also from the great Game of Thrones. So I had to look into that. So Tretter is a different Game of Thrones character per Torres. A story we agreed. Okay, this is the conversation. I'm quoting in quotes here. I just lost my mic. I hope that wasn't really loud on your guys' ears.
No, it sounds like you're crumbling a bag of chips.
Okay. Tretter. Okay, so here's a quote. So this is a conversation. This is Littlefinger saying, a story we agree, and this is after the trial, I believe, after the previous quote. A story we agreed to tell each other over and over till we forget that it's a lie. But what do we have left once we abandon the lie? Chaos, a gaping pit waiting to swallow us all. And I believe it was Bran who replied, chaos isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder.
So what? What'd you say? You're so dramatic you cut off there. What?
A ladder.
A ladder. Oh, a ladder.
I know, it's so profound.
I like
So
it.
anyway, all this drama, all these quotes that people were thinking of when talking about the NFLPA, and you don't want that. You don't want all that drama, right? But so again, so this is one of the inside people, most likely Calvin, that he wasn't the character that said whoever that was who said, I wish I was the monster, Tyrion.
Mhm.
I wish I was the monster you think I am. He's more like Littlefinger, who's basically lying and lying and lying until he believes all those lies are true, which is something that definitely happens in the criminal mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I see
Mm-hmm.
this in trial after trial after trial. It's just like there's a certain MO that you start seeing. It's like, because even that trial I was telling you about, Utah versus Corey Richards, the one who poisoned her husband, unfortunately, it was successful. I kept asking my friends that I was watching it with, I'm like, does she actually believe these lies, or is she just lying? Like, is she just comfortable lying to everyone, or is she been lying so much that she doesn't know anymore what the truth is?
Could be some
Right.
of that. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, enjoyed all of the dramatic references to to characters. And there is one more, but we'll see if we get to it. What about you, Maddie? What's your next one? You have a final?
So I have just some side notes, things worth
Okay.
mentioning before
Okay.
we're done today. Two things. One is that I don't know if you saw this, but Tyler Herrick, who has been doing the socials
Yeah.
for Cheesehead TV, which then also spills out into Pack a Day, and
Yeah.
is amazing at it, and was one of my
He's good.
favorite guests we ever had in the show, because remember we got
Hmm.
him talking about his process and the tools he uses and the software and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
fascinating. Well, he recently finished up all his work to be a pilot, and he's going to have a job as an actual airplane pilot.
Oh,
So
neat.
really exciting, but it also means he's not
Oh,
going to be doing the socials anymore because he doesn't have like quite the time he would need to devote to that.
right.
So Nagler had put up like a thing saying, "Hey, we're looking for somebody new because Tyler's going to go be an airplane flyer, so as they're called, a pilot." There's a word for that, and so congratulations to Tyler, and we're all going to be that much poorer for not having his excellent digital content out there, but I'm excited for him. So that was
Yeah.
one. The
He was so
other,
good. I loved his work.
so good, so ridiculously good,
Super good.
just insane. And then the second side note I had is just that one of my favorite podcasts, speaking of Dusty Evely, Watching Stuff, is coming back. Actually, they just had a new episode that came out today. This is Dusty and our friends Aaron Alice and Monty Moore, where they talk through like all the Marvel and Marvel related, Marvel
Hmm.
peripheral, that's a hard phrase, Marvel peripheral
Marvel.
properties out there. And it's just fun listening to them talk about that stuff. So they had left off with one of the Venom movies, which they none of them like the Venom movies. So like it's funny to hear them talk about something they don't like, but I feel like they're almost like forced into talking about.
Ah,
It's good content. It's good content. It's also good when they talk about something they like, of course. But
right.
so I'm excited to listen to that. It's like the next thing in my podcast queue. And I'm really glad they'll be making episodes again because that is a fun show to listen to.
I kind of like people talking about things they don't like. I've kind of gotten into this lately. One of my guilty pleasures, I guess, because I don't watch television, I don't watch many movies. I'm kind of selective about that. But one of my latest guilty pleasures is
Mhm.
British people and Australians, for some reason they're into it too, taking down British nobility, especially in light of the Epstein file.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, they are going after them. And I just love it. I just think it's terrible, but it's a guilty pleasure. And I'm having
Hmm.
so much fun with it, especially the more educated they are and witty,
Hmm. Yeah.
about it. And,
Yeah.
that dry British humor. I mean, oh, it's like I say, it's a guilty pleasure. It's almost like you're watching murder happen in life. But in my defense, they're not saying anything that isn't untrue. They're quoting
Hmm.
from actual files and
Hmm.
things like that. But yeah, I haven't minded watching some of that. So So I bet it would be fun to listen to Dusty and Aaron and Monte not like something
Yeah,
too.
it is fun.
That was my point. I would enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, Don,
There
what else do
was
you have left? Because I'm fresh out of stuff at this point. So
Yeah,
what
there
else you
was
got?
one little bonus I had too, and it
Sure.
was most of what I quoted was driven by Torres.
Hmm.
But Florio popped in on one of them, and I think he was talking about Tretter also. Everybody's talking about Tretter. He's not very well liked
Uh-huh.
among thinking people, at least. I don't know. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's going to be the hero. I don't know, but that'd be great. I doubt it, but it would be
Hmm.
great. So Florio popped in with a George Costanza quote. Everybody's talking at me. I can't hear a word they're saying. Just driving around in John Voight's car. Do you remember that episode?
No. That's a great quote, though.
It was when George bought, I don't know, it's like an Impala or something. It wasn't anything. It was just like a car, and it had John Voight's name on the title.
Hmm.
So he thought he bought John Voight, the actor's car.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And so they, did a little bit of searching, and it ended up being like John Voight, the podiatrist or something
Some
like
random
that.
guy
It
with the
was
same
like
name.
the whole
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
In other words, you can just tell yourself something and not listen to anybody. And he's just like,
Hmm.
I'm telling you. Yeah. So there was just a lot of really fun quotes and symbolism and that I just noticed as a trend in
Hmm.
speaking about this. And I think at this point, for me at least, that's how I have to deal with it, because I was immensely well. Remember what I said 2 weeks ago at the end of our last podcast was if Tretter gets elected to this position, things are probably way worse at the NFL than I thought they were.
Mm.
And it's come to that. It's come to that. There's going to be 18 games. There's going to be injuries. I hope they can figure out workaround for that, like a B team, A team, B team, something like that.
Hmm.
But I just worry about, just the future, the health of the sport, and
Yeah.
future players, because it's hard enough as it is when you're managing that knowingly. But yeah, a lot of these guys are going to be in and out, and they're going to be leaving this for another generation to deal with. And I can understand why players aren't like, the players union isn't first and foremost in their mind.
Hmm.
And I think I can also understand why that's how this happened. And the money involved that is being misdirected potentially is in the billions of dollars. We're not
Yeah.
talking about a couple
Yeah.
million. Yeah, we're talking B. So there's a lot of motivation for people who are criminal minded, or not altruistic at all, to be
Hmm.
doing. Yeah. So anyway, I was very disappointed. And not to say that we know anything that Tretter did for sure was wrong, but there sure are a lot of signals that something isn't right with him. And maybe he's not, but even so, it just looks so bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't look good.
Oh, Maddie. Well, let's wrap her up and bring her home. By the way, speaking of Andrew Mertig, you mentioned him earlier. He'll be
Hmm.
with us on our next episode in 2 weeks.
Oh boy. Mark your calendars, folks. 2 weeks. Andrew on the show. It'd be great.
Definitely want to talk about the draft. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. I'm getting ready.
Yeah, some trials wrap up, so now you can put some of your focus into
Oh
some
gosh,
draft
they'll
content.
never wrap up. There's another one coming up here in San Diego. That's going to be a 6-week trial, and I actually plan to attend. I'm actually covered the whole preliminary hearing. I won't broadcast the trial or anything like that, but there's always a trial going on. It's very few days when it's like, oh gosh, I've got a week where I don't have to watch a trial and catch up on things. But most of my friends are like watching it. Like, did you see that body language? I'm like, no, I don't have time to watch it. I'm listening while I'm doing other things. So I do miss a lot of things for that reason. But yeah, the one coming up here in San Diego is close to my heart, and that one's going to be 6 weeks. It starts May 11th. So that one's coming up.
Get excited.
One. Yeah, to have it over with for the family.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Okay, Maddie. Well, let's bring her home. Let's say goodnight to our chat. Boo,
yeah.
Aaron.
I was gonna say, speaking of the chat, we were talking about draft content being out there right now. I do want to give a shout out to Joe. He and Mike Kawano have Ohana Packers Edition, their podcast. They've been breaking down different positions in the draft.
Yes.
It's been awesome. So make sure you're checking that out, folks. They're doing great work over there. And soon we have Dane Brugler's The Beast coming out through The Athletic. I'm excited for that. I'm not sure exactly what the release date is, but I'm sure it's coming up really soon because we're just a month away from the draft at this point. Must be soon.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great people doing great work out there. Oh, and they're going to have
Dan.
I'm going to plug here. Dan Connick will be on the show this week. They had Sarah Kelleher last week. Some fantastic guests right there, some great people. So
I have to catch up on all that. I didn't realize I was going to watch 2 trials this week.
Surprise!
They just kind of came all of a sudden.
So make sure you check that stuff out, folks. All right,
sure.
Dawn, here we go. I'm going to bring her home. Okay.
Let's bring her home.
Friends, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. The best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right, because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL. We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks on
Hey, we like your pod.